What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're diving in with some updates and Destiny 2 news. And firstly, this week we're set to get another hotfix for Season of Plunder. There are a few key issues that players will be hoping to see fixed, so we'll touch on that update. And then we're going to talk about upcoming season content, including a secret quest with some interesting rewards. Plus, we can now see Kingsfall hard mode or master rewards. And finally, we get a cool interview with PC Gamer and Bungie, which touches on Lightfall, grappling, content vaulting, and much more. And so we're going to round all of it up in the video, guys. As always, I hope you enjoy this one, and if you do, a rating below really does help us out. But otherwise, let's get into it. Initially, Bungie Help have announced some upcoming Destiny 2 background maintenance for today. They say that no downtime is expected, but this is in preparation for HOTFIX 6202. And since they're doing this on a Wednesday, it seems likely that that hotfix is going to be pushed before the end of the week. I'll be sure to keep you posted when we get that. There are a series of different things that Bungie will be looking to address. And in terms of issues at the moment, Bungie Help said they're aware of a problem where Golgoroth can sometimes produce an extremely loud roar in the Kingsfall raid. I believe it can happen randomly when you wipe on that encounter, but also Bungie are investigating Arc subclasses not receiving the correct resilience-based damage reduction. There is also an issue with Quicksilver Storm being able to circumvent certain mechanics in Kingsfall, plus progression issues on quests. There's a known issue where players can't claim previous season pass items on Bungie.net. So quite a few things that Bungie will potentially sort out in a hotfix this week. And again, I'll be sure to keep you posted. For content this week though, we got the new seasonal weekly quest. And so we've reclaimed another fallen relic from the pirates. And the fallen hideout this week was an interesting one, as Bungie used the same area from the Madim subterranean lost sector on Mars in Destiny 2. And upon completing the quest, when we go to the Elixir Quarter to return the relic to Mithrax and Ido, the spider shows his willingness to take it all for himself, as he discusses the possibility with Mithrax, who promptly corrects him. So here is the dialogue for this week if you didn't catch it.
Mithrax, my old friend. There's a matter I wish to discuss with you.
My people's concerns are my own. I will listen.
I hoped you'd say that. Rumor has it your new crew has been bringing back delightful baubles, pulled from the old shores.
Are you asking for a share?
Do you think me so petty? We're on the same side here. We have our eyes on the same horizon. Those relics resurfaced for a reason. The power belongs to us. We could have everything this time. We need only take it.
Your words are careless.
What? The Guardian? Huh. A trusted accomplice.
No, I did not imagine you would speak like that where I might hear you.
Come now, Mithrax. I know you. Think of your house. Think of your daughter. We could have everything Eremus wants. Wouldn't that be some lovely payback? Huh?
You will leave that behavior in the past. You will not speak of it here beneath the great machine, or I will silence you.
There's no call for that.
Do you hear me, Rakis?
I hear you.
Never summon me like this again.
Get out. We're closed.
As we've discussed recently, the story is going to be an interesting one this season. And one of the main upcoming events for Plunder is an upcoming kind of mini event. Spoiler alert is necessary here, but from the Swashbuckler shell, which is in the database, we learn of a new activity source called a Rising Tide. This is some kind of mission. And also in the database, we can see there's an objective listing the total number of captain's coins donated to the Elixir Quarter during the Rising Tide in Season of Plunder. This also seems to pair with a community event section in the triumphs for the game. Two of them are hidden, but there's one where we need to investigate each of the Elixir Quarter improvements. And so it looks like we're going to be assisting the Fallen in improving that new base, and there's going to be some kind of miniature event associated with it, where the community will essentially be delivering materials to help the Fallen out. So very much looking forward to seeing what that will be like and at what point we'll get it. Otherwise though, for now, we'll get a portion of that quest each week as we typically see in seasons. Moving on though, a very quick mention for Kingsfall. Now that the raid's been released, we can see all of the items associated with it in the database. One of the interesting things is that we are getting Harrowed weapons back from Destiny 1. These were the hard mode weapons for King's Fall, pretty much the equivalent of adept weapons. And obviously there is a visual difference and the difference in the name, but otherwise we'll have to see what differences there are between normal and Harrowed weapons, outside of that visual element. It's also possible now that the raid has been released that Bungie will give us information about when that master version will drop. Either way, let us know in the comment section if you've been into the King's Fall raid in D2, as well as any awesome rewards that you've picked up. And the final thing I wanted to talk about in the video is a new interview from Tim Clark at PC Gamer, who spoke with Joe Blackburn and Dan McAuliffe from Bungie, talking about Lightfall and Season 17. Initially, they discussed grappling and how that's going to be a key part of traversing the new destination in Lightfall, which is called Neomuna. But Joe Blackburn adds, I think you'll absolutely be seeing people use grapple in high-level PvE. And the devs go on to say that they're always nervous when they introduce new things like this. However, they want to push the boundaries of freedom and choice. And Dan McAuliffe adds that he thinks the hook has the potential to revitalize old content because players will be able to traverse the spaces differently. And they say on the potential for breaking the game, they are relatively relaxed. He adds that the test team is incredible and they'll work to locate and fix the most egregious issues. But it does say they're aware that there'll be many industrious players looking for ways to grapple over mountains. And on the most part, minor exploits are going to be worth the trade-off for cool moments of feeling like a superhero when you grapple. And Joe Blackburn adds, I don't think it's necessarily going to drastically increase the ceiling for out-of-bounds shenanigans, because the ceiling is already really high. So that's an interesting one. I am sure, however, that players will be able to use it to do various exploitative things. And then they go on to talk about Neomuna and some new enemies. And firstly, they talk about the Tormentors. Joe Blackburn says we're showing what these disciples and followers of the pyramid look like, some of the most ancient and coveted ones. And they point out that in terms of design, Tormentors share much DNA with Rulk, the raid boss from Vow of Disciple. And Joe Blackburn says Rulk was a big lift for the team because it was the first one, and so we needed people to come away saying, whoa, these things are tough. And they want to work to keep that bar really high, adding that Tormentors will be even more dangerous than Hive Guardians. Very much looking forward to seeing how those enemies play in the game. But next they talk about how Bungie will no longer be sunsetting entire expansions. And Tim Clark asks Bungie what changed. And they say as we close the Light and Dark saga, which runs from Shadowkeep to the final shape, we want to make sure that the whole sequence is fully playable from start to finish. But also that the reversal on sunsetting has been enabled by upgrades to the game engine and infrastructure. So season content will continue to expire as normal, but bigger content drops like last year's 30th anniversary will stick around. However, the devs add that it's not the case that we fixed one flaw in the engine and now never need to sunset anything ever again. We're always going to be making hard trade-offs between ongoing systems and the awesome content and the ever-growing file size. And when they ask if Nessus is going to be chopped, the devs say everyone can breathe easy about Nessus for now, and so that won't be being sunset. But next they speak about the lack of updates to Vanguard Strikes, Crucible, and Gambit playlists. And the devs say we have a team that's looking at a bunch of these problems, and we're happy with the work we've seen this year, doing things like adding Battlegrounds to those playlists, but we're going to be doing a bunch of work specifically in the Vanguard playlist around Lightfall. We're going back to some strikes to update them, and they add that they don't think every strike needs to be replaced, but the team wants to go into older ones and give them the same kind of attention that newer content gets. So some kind of Vanguard playlist updates will be happening around the Lightfall period. And they finish talking about ability stuff. Tim Clark says one piece of feedback I've seen regarding the recent Arc 3.0 rework is that a couple of the subclasses crutch too hard on specific armor in order to make them viable. And Joe Blackburn says, I think there's a balancing point with a bunch of those. There was a long time where people that used Celestial Nighthawk were like, this is the way you play this class. If you aren't using that, why are you even using Golden Gun? And we've gotten to a place in recent years where we have those exotics that are like a 30% boost, and you can choose to run it or not to run it. It takes some time and some thought for people to break out of that idea that the only way to play Destiny is to smash the boss as hard as possible. They talk about how there's a similar effect on weapons, with people looking for perks that do the most damage to bosses in a short window of time, rather than what's useful over the course of an activity. And McAuliffe says that the situation should improve once Lightfall lands, and I think when our loadout manager comes online, it'll help with some of that, because right now I'm less likely to experiment as a player, and I'll trend towards the thing that everyone says is good. Whereas if I can switch really quickly, I'm more likely to experiment and find something that works better for me. And there certainly is an element of that. But of course, Lightfall is 6 months away, basically. I'm sure there will be more additions and changes to that release. and there'll be a lot more conversation about it in a few months' time. Either way, certainly worth checking out that entire interview, and so I'll link it down below. But otherwise for today, that's what we have to cover in this video, guys. So share your thoughts in the comment section on any of the subjects we've touched on. If you've enjoyed the video today, feel free to hit that subscribe button so I can keep you posted with more Destiny content. Plus, you can turn on notifications to get updates about Destiny 2 immediately. But otherwise for today, thank you as always for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys very soon.